Oh, you know what? Hold.
Oh, you're fine. I'll pause. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jake Sussman. I am the founder of Superpower Mentors, and today I have someone really special. Barbara Morelli is someone that has been my mentor for the last, Barb, what is it, like 4.5 years now, maybe?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
something like that. So, my friends, Barbara Morelli, if you don't know her, you got to get her on your radar. She is a TEDx speaker, entrepreneur, researcher, and the founder of the Joseph James Morelli Legacy Foundation. And for those of you who don't know about the Morelli Foundation, I'm going to let Barbara speak on that a little bit, but just to talk a little bit about it, because I'm such a big fan. The Morelli Foundation is an incredible organization that gives scholarships to dyslexic college students pursuing STEM majors. You're one of the, I guess, largest in the country because there's really no one else doing it, right? And over the last 4 years, we've been working with the Morelli Foundation and running their mentorship program for all incoming freshmen. And it's been an incredible journey. So again, Barbara, welcome. I'm so excited to dive in with you and for you to share about the great work that you're doing.
Thank you, Jake. Yes, and it has been, right? I mean, it's crazy to think that we are now in our 10th year, and it's always I always say it's my toughest job, right? Running this organization, being the founder and the president. So for those of you who don't know about us, it's the Joseph James Morelli Legacy Foundation, and it was created after the tragic loss of our son, who was killed camping up in Yellowstone. So he was a student at Montana State University. He was severely dyslexic. And once he got his accommodations, he actually excelled. And he went on to, he went from failing in high school to actually being an honors student and doing really well. And it was that sort of aha that we started the foundation, because we realized that having that diagnosis, getting the accommodations, and getting the acceptance and seeing people believe in you had such an impact in his life that we wanted to do that for others. So we started it 10 years ago, not really knowing what we were doing. And this year, we are now proud to say that we've awarded over $700,000 to, we've had 400 and a little over 400 scholarships awarded over 10 years. So it's about 170 kids, because many of our kids get repeat scholarships, and we can talk a little bit about that. But yeah, all over the country. And 4 years ago, we partnered with Superpower Mentors because we realized that we needed mentoring as well as the financial support.
So, Barbara, I want to talk about this. I actually have one of your amazing scholars actually that's going to be joining us, Amy.
Yay.
Actually in the waiting room here. So I'm going to bring her on in a second so that she can speak from the student's perspective. But what has it been like for you to be impacting? Because I know about Joseph, and to be able to fulfill his legacy with these students. Because a lot of these kids, they're amazing, right? And if you ever were to meet a Morelli scholar, I mean, these are exceptional students, not just students, but just individuals. So, what is it like for you as a leader of this organization to see them grow within the organization?
So we get about 300 applicants a year. We want to be cognizant and support the kids that really need not only the financial support, but the mentoring, the engagement. And what we've realized is that we create a community. And maybe I can read you one just quick letter, and as you say, what is it like? The letters from the kids and the parents are incredible, and not overwhelming in a bad way, overwhelming in a good way, because they are so emotional and just so appreciative. And I think some things that resonate with us is we'll hear from these kids and they'll say, I can't believe that people that don't even know me believe in me. And you have created a community that I feel welcomed in. And this is one from Leah, and she says, although you do not know me personally, I want to extend my most sincere gratitude. Joseph's story has impacted me greatly. As a student who struggles with dyslexia, it was very empowering to hear how hard your son fought and how much he accomplished.
Oh,
Going into engineering at North Carolina State, I am always worried about success. Becoming a part of your family and this amazing foundation gives me hope that I can follow my dreams and make change in the world. Thank you for everything. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, from the kids, from the parents. You feel lost, right? You get this diagnosis. People don't believe in you. You're beaten down. Even with Joseph's story, when I did the TED Talk, his story wasn't unique. And it resonated with so many kids that they're told you're not going to be successful. You're not going to go to college. As we would hear with Joseph, he's really, really smart, but he's not applying himself. And even when I said, I think he's got a learning challenge, I was told, oh no, we would have picked it up years ago. So he essentially went undiagnosed until high school.
Yeah. It's the feeling of loneliness.
Yes.
Which is ironic because 1 out of 5 of us have it.
Yes.
Right. Which is this weird feeling of like, we go all through school thinking it's just us. And we're talking to all these professionals and there's all these people that seems like it's like medical and doctors and prescribing and all these things. And it's like, how do we not feel like there's something wrong?
Yeah,
it's something that makes your foundation so amazing is that you don't look at dyslexia as a deficit of like, oh, we feel bad and we're going to now, help you survive school. It's instead you have a gift and we're going to invest in the gift.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
We are going to invest in the gift. And, it's interesting too, because even when we started, right, we kept calling it a learning disorder because that's the way it is on the IEPs and the 504s, right? Now we call it a learning difference. It is just a different way of learning and a different way of processing. And there's so much more education that needs to be done in this space.
There is. And I think this is a great time to bring in Amy to be able to give this other perspective of it, of being a student that's living with it. So with that, I'm going to bring in Amy.
Right okay. Now. Love Amy.
There she is.
Hey, Amy. So good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Now it's a party. Amy, can you just, for everyone watching, please just introduce, who are you? What are you studying? What are you focusing on now? And what's it like being a Morelli Scholar?
Okay, so to start out, I'm studying biology at the University of Southern Mississippi, and I'm planning on pursuing a career in optometry. But specifically developmental optometry, which deals with a lot of kids with dyslexia and learning differences also. So what it's like being a Morelli Scholar, so exactly as Ms. Barbara and Jake have already said, it is very much so like you have received a gift when you get that one email. It's like you're in. It's very much like that. It is a blessing every single day because it's like you have a team. You have not even a team, you have a family backing you. You have someone that believes in you every single way, step through your college career, that's in your corner saying, you got this, I believe in you, and I want to invest in that. So, yeah.
And that's something that Amy said that really resonated. And this is why we started the mentoring, right? Is we had students not reapplying. And once we invest in you, we want to continue to see you through matriculation, whatever that looks like. If it's 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, we want you to be successful. And we were trying so hard to get our early students to reapply. And we'd email them and they wouldn't reapply. And we're just thinking, how are they not wanting some money? And they came back to us and they said, we failed you. I failed out of school. I changed majors. I took time off. And we kept saying to ourselves, well, we're investing in these kids. We want them to be successful. Clearly, money is only a small piece of it. What else can we do? And that's why we went to the mentoring. So because of Jake and because of you, Amy, and what you two do and believe in, all of our kids who go through our mentoring programs actually reapply and stay in school, which is phenomenal.
When you look at a student with a learning difference, neurodiverse student, right? In this case, dyslexics, all we want is to feel seen and heard, right? We want to feel like someone else has our back. So when we step aside from just focusing on the problem, which are all the things that aren't going well, and actually look at the things that are, that's when we can unleash them, right? And that's when our confidence starts to thrive. So what the Morelli Foundation has done is invest in the student. And as soon as they felt that, wow, they're not just like doing this as a feel bad, they're actually they see my potential. It gives them a reason to wake up and to get out of bed. Yeah, and that's something that we've seen in the mentoring program significantly.
And the other thing too, I think, is how we differ is we ask for a transcript just to make sure that the students pursuing a STEM career. We don't look at GPAs. We don't ask about GPAs. And when we've had kids take a year off, if they have struggled and have come back, we just want them to tell us, what changes have they made? Why should we continue to support them? And if they can give us a good rationale, like, it's okay to fail. It's okay to stumble. Come back and ask for help. And we want to continue to see you successful. Right. There's a reason why we invested in you from day one.
Right. And also when the student becomes the teacher, and something about this program that's so unique and what's really nice about the program at the foundation is that when a student comes in freshman year, we look at not only we don't even look at, what's at hand, the challenges. We actually match them with an upperclassman that's been there not that long ago, that now can help relate and say, hey, I would think about this now because you're going to need to think about this in about 2 weeks. So let's think about it right now. Right. And to have that reminder, that accountability partner has been transformative to the kids.
It has been. So
Barbara, tell me a little bit about, how does the foundation, we're talking about Live PC, Give PC a little bit. Can you please explain a little bit about what is that? Because for most of our audience, they have no idea what I just said. So can you just explain this a little bit and why it's important for the foundation?
Yes. So the majority of our funds go towards our students and our programs. So whether it's education, the mentoring, financial, we spend very little. We have no fundraising event. So how do we raise money, right? If we can't raise money, we don't exist. We raise money through word of mouth. We raise money through our gratitude report. We raise money through our educational events, which is once a year, which Amy and Jake, you have attended in Park City. And then we raise money through Live PC, Give PC. So Live PC, Give PC was started 14 years ago by our local nonprofit, the Park City Community Foundation. And under them, they're actually a 501c 501(c) or 501(c)(b). Anyway, they're a little bit different in that they give money to other nonprofits. And so what they did is they set up this day of giving, and everybody in Park City gets out with signs and posters and dresses up for their favorite nonprofit, stands on sidewalks, and we've got huge parties. And you donate during the day to your nonprofit that is part of this community. And because we are based in Park City, even though we're national, we fall under the Park City Community Foundation. So it's really simple. You go to Live PC, Give PC, and you can Google Joseph James Morelli Legacy Foundation, will pop up. And the other thing that's cool is that it's not, yes, it's about the total dollars to help us, but it's the number of donors. So we do better if one family of 5, each with a unique email, gives $10 each. rather than one $50 donation. And that's because it's the number of donors. So the more donors we then get matching grants. So for the last 10 years, we have always come in the top 3 for our division, which is education, which is pretty cool.
Wow. That's so, it's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And we'll touch on that a little bit later. But for both of you, what does it mean to invest in dyslexia? Like, why should we invest in our neurodiverse students?
So Amy, you talk, because you've been a mentor and a scholar of ours. So why is this so important?
Okay, so you have to realize these are the next generation. Not only are they the next generation, but also dyslexic people we're known for being problem solvers. We're known for being the creative people of the world. So you have to realize most of the people I see as a mentor, when they went through high school, they were very beat down. Most of the people I see that we get to mentor, that are mentees, that have become mentors now, they were beat down in the school system. They are now in college, and most of them are probably expecting the same course of action to happen. But you see, now they have a mentor. Now they have mentors to uplift them and to tell them, no, it's not going to be like that. This is how you walk through the accommodation system. This is how you walk through studying for a test 2 weeks in advance because you have a final the next week after that one. And it's all of that comes together to pour into that human being. But you have to realize in the long term, they now have skills that they never had. So when you go into the workforce, it doesn't stop here. You still may need accommodations in the workforce. We've given you the voice and the self-advocacy to know how to do that later. So you're pouring into these people when they're freshmen, right? Okay, now we've built them up. Some of them become mentors. Great. The student became the teacher kind of relationship. Okay, now you put them into the real world, and now they get to advocate for themselves all over again because we taught them those skills that they never may have had before. So,
and I think something you spoke about, it's that camaraderie. It's having somebody who's gone through it very similar to you, right? And is having somebody believe in you. And I think that's why, we would see these kids be so excited when we gave them the award, but then there was no follow-on. There was no continued touch point. And the other thing we've learned too early on, before we started working with Superpowers, is that when the kids went silent, we thought they were okay. No. That's when they were struggling the most.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the parents watching this can relate. I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to first ask this next question to Barbara, but then I want to get Amy's perspective as a student. Okay, Barbara, you're a parent. Okay, and for a lot of the parents watching this, you are a role model in how you've been able to take ownership of something that's so painful, but also turn it into a force for good. Right. So, what's some advice that you can give what's some advice that you can give to parents? Something that, looking at the struggles that parents often face when it comes to parenting a college-aged student, right? That perhaps has a learning difference. What's something that you've seen in some advice?
I think, and again, if anybody's interested, you can listen to my TED Talk. Both my husband and I are physicians. We're not educators. So we trusted the school system. This was back in New York. And I got a call from the guidance counselor freshman year when Joseph was a freshman. And they said to me, Mrs. Morelli, we want to talk about Joseph. He's struggling in class. And I said, of course. I said, he's not good in English. He's having trouble in Spanish. I know he struggles with reading, but he's really good at math. And the guidance counselor said, your son is now failing math, and we think he's not high school material. And in hindsight, he was doing word problems and he could not read. And I think what I did was I went from being the bystander, because I thought the educational system knew what was best for my child to the parent that everyone knew. And I think that's what you have to be. You've got to speak up. You've got to, if something doesn't make sense, you have to speak up, even if it's not your field of expertise. And both my husband and I, and you know what's crazy too, is in hindsight, before Joseph was diagnosed and when he was going through these struggles, he was also severely depressed, but we thought he was a moody teenager. And then he was having headaches. Well, we got him an MRI of his brain. Then he was having palpitations. We took him to a cardiologist. Then he was having trouble breathing. We took him to a pulmonologist. We took him for all these medical tests, and it was anxiety. It was the anxiety because he could not perform in the classroom. He was falling behind. He could not read. When he graduated high school, he was still at a 6th grade reading level. And it wasn't until he got his accommodations and he was doing well that he started to feel good about himself. And that empowerment and that self-belief. And so that the parents, I would say, if something doesn't make sense, don't let them tell you your child's not working hard enough or they're not trying. You just question, and look for answers and reach out to people who have gone before you.
Well, I think that, and Amy, I'm coming right to you in a minute, but I think for parents, especially parents of experts in the field of medical or just social impact and all of that, right? Social work. You're an expert, right? At what point did you look in the mirror and say, you know what, actually, like I don't know everything, right? Oh, I don't know like what's best, or maybe I do, but what was that point where you kind of put on your own cape as a parent and say, you know what, I have to own this path too with my son, and it's not what I perhaps thought?
It was definitely when the guidance counselor called me, because that's when I said to her, he is so smart and something doesn't make sense. I think he has a learning challenge. And that's when she said, oh no, we would have picked it up years ago. Well, he was twice gifted because he was so brilliant, but he couldn't read. So he just kept falling behind. And that's when we started to, unfortunately, have to hire lawyers and fight the school system and look for advocates and really start to fight for your child. Christina, the youngest of our 4, had an easier path because by then we knew it was genetic. I'm dyslexic, but not as severe as Joseph. And she was the 4th, and she knew she couldn't read. So we were able to get intervention when she was actually in kindergarten. So very different.
Don't even wait. I always say, like, if you have even an ounce of suspicion, look, parent gut is a superpower also.
Exactly. I agree.
Like, like something's off.
Something's off.
Come on, parents. Let's just like be real for a sec. Like it's your blood okay? Like if something's off. Don't question it, because guess what? Everyone learns differently and no single mind is the same. So with that said, it doesn't matter what they have. Let's just get clarity, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Let's just understand so that we can finally start to be proactive. It's not something to be afraid of. So yeah.
And just one other comment, and then I want Amy to speak as well. But what's unfortunate too is even once you're diagnosed and you have accommodations in college, and we've had several of our kids lose their accommodations because the testing ran out, and these students almost did not graduate. So
a whole other conversation.
I know,
for about an hour. So Amy, I want to hear from you a little bit. So from the perspective of student, right? I want to bring it right back to you, is that, what was it like for you as a dyslexic growing up? Did you feel like there are ways that, our parents perhaps can help, or the teachers or anyone watching this? Like, what was that experience like for you?
So I actually was the youngest of my siblings, and as we know, it's genetics. So the diagnosing part was easier for me, but not the rest. So I would say, a little different path than my siblings because of where I wanted to go. As in, like, I want to be in the medical field. They're not medical field. So growing up, I always had a drive to just be in kind of that area, if that makes sense. So it was always very hard with me for teachers. Teachers could never, ever, ever understand. I was in the gifted program, but I mean, I couldn't read. I mean, I would sit in the class and wait till the end of the class period. I was a pro at like flipping pages, acting like I was working. And then I'd come home with a buttload of homework because I didn't do anything at school. And then me and my mom are up to like all hours of the night finishing homework that I could have done at school, but I can't read it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't spell it. So I'm at home doing twice or 3 times the amount of work that already takes me 3 times the amount of time. Talk about exhausted for all parties involved. It was literally awful. And that went on for about 12 years of education. That it never, no, literally, because you have to realize they never got it. I learned through this foundation so many things. Literally, I could tell you the praises of this foundation and Superpower Mentoring all day long because I love both of these companies and foundations so much. But once you are in a situation such as me in my school district, I was coping. I had math. I had figured out how to get by. And don't get me wrong, I had good grades, but no one knew what was going on at home. So I would get home at 5 o'clock after all my practices and then stay up till all hours of the night.
So, Amy, here's another thought too. You know, when you said you figured it out, I always wonder, we provide scholarships to kids who have a diagnosis, who have figured it out. How many kids do you think haven't figured it out and fall through the cracks?
Can you elaborate when you say like figured it out, if that makes sense?
Sorry. No. Gotten a diagnosis, figured out how to compensate, figured out the resources, right? I just think there's so many kids that, for whatever reason, just don't get to where you're at.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for expanding upon that. So, I mean, we have so many that I just know of our kids, because it's like, you have to realize dyslexic people are very intelligent. So if you don't have that history in your family and your parents don't know what to look for, and you're able to read just good enough to get by, you're able to do things just good enough, and your brain makes these new pathways to figure out how to get by, you're never caught. It's 1 in 5.
Yeah.
The special education systems do not resemble 1 in 5.
No, they don't.
If it did, teachers would have to have IEP meetings every week.
Yeah.
Because there would be so many. I mean, so it's just like so many. I literally cannot imagine, because if my siblings would have never had dyslexia, I truly believe I would have been one of those people, because I would have been a CB student that just got by.
Exactly.
So my question for you, Amy, and this is going to be for our parents watching, like, I need your attention. So, Amy, looking back to little Amy, right? You may have not had the words to ask for help, or how to best share about your how you felt growing up with dyslexia, right? Can you go back in time and share, like, what would you say? Like, what advice would you give to, whether it's your own parents or to parents around you, or even to your teachers, about your own experience that you wish you said when you were younger?
Gotcha. So one thing I would like to preface is, growing up, my mom, like my family, they were a great support, but I always just felt very, 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 very misunderstood in school. So I would say to little Amy, they may not understand at this time, but one of the things I'm in awe of every day that I get to work with mentees and work with Superpower Mentoring is the fact that, because of what the experiences I went through, and because of that, I'm able to help so many people now. And that's just to me personally, because of the path I walked. But it's like, every now and then I really do think about little Amy. It's like she would never have believed that she would have gotten a scholarship for being dyslexic.
And it's funny you say that, because that's what we hear from our kids. We want to help the kids that need that extra boost. And if you're, an applicant, we've had kids come to us and say, I can't believe that somebody saw my 2.9 as worthy of a scholarship, because that's the best I could do. But to me, it was my A's, but I just wasn't judged that way. And that's the fact. Like, we take into account the whole person. We don't ask. It's the whole person. We want to know, how will this scholarship impact you and change your life and set you up for success? And having Amy come on board as one of our scholars, and now one of our, Superpower mentors, and working with you, Jake, has just been a blessing. Amy, you make us all so proud.
So why would so what I want to do, and I want to just encourage everyone to do, is the Morelli Foundation has no full-time employees at all. They're all volunteer run. The funds of this organization directly goes to impacting students through different programming. Remember, the Morelli Foundation does not just write a check to go to college, right? This check goes towards the success of the student, of the individual, because that's what really matters. It's about their own journey, and that's what makes the foundation feel like family. So what we're looking for is for anyone that is interested in being part of this story, even $10 donation, right? Obviously more is better, but also even $10 is great too. And this Live PC, Give PC campaign is really important because if for any donation given, it will be matched. Correct, Barbara? I just want to make sure I'm saying that.
We have matching grants. And I think another thing that you said too, just as we talk about how we offer support. So getting back to, we've now just set up a sort of slush fund that if kids are struggling, like we had this one individual who was losing her accommodations at one of the universities we work really close with. And suddenly they just pulled the rug from underneath her. And she reached out to me and she said, I'm in my senior year. I can't afford another year of school. I can't put my finances towards testing. And they're telling me that testing in September wasn't going to get done till April, which means that she couldn't get her accommodations for her classes in order to graduate. And here she was going into helping others. She was going to be an EMT and a healthcare professional. So we were able to actually, through our resources, get her testing, pay for the testing. And in fact, the individual that did her testing now is offering testing for any of our students who may not have the finances to get the testing to continue with their accommodations, which is huge. That's the difference we try to make in a child's life.
This is the magic of the Morelli Foundation, right? And I'll tell you this before we go, that, and this is something that I've been saying a lot of, so if you've heard this before, I'm repeating it. But listen, our world today is filled with many problems, big problems, and we all can agree on that. And the only way that we're going to solve those problems are by those who think differently, those who look at the world differently. And those people are those that the Morelli Foundation is supporting. We need those students. These students are going to be our next engineers, our next doctors. Right?
Elon Musk. They're
Musk, right?
They're Einstein.
Einstein.
They're Leonardo da Vinci.
There's the greatest minds ever, right? Most of them are dyslexic, right? And Morelli Foundation is supporting the next generation of those that want to solve our world's biggest problem.
In fact, one of our kids, and this is so cool because we now support his brother as well, and you know exactly who I'm talking about because they've been through your program. Yeah. He actually was at Montana State and was working with NASA and now has a job with NASA doing aerospace engineering.
It's
I mean, it's so cool. And in fact, we had the only student that was one of our mentees that ever dropped out of our program early, actually was hired by Boeing, again, to work in aerospace engineering. So it's just really cool. I mean, we've got kids that, oh my God, I mean, optometry, nursing. We just had a child we funded this year that actually wants to work in improving poultry farms because she wants to make chickens healthier and more organic and sustainable. Like, how cool is that? That's STEM.
Do
That's
I know why you ever heard why the chicken crossed the road?
to get to the other side.
Yeah, to get to the better poultry farm. No, I'm just joking.
But agricultural, we've got kids studying agricultural, farming mechanics. Like, it's so cool. STEM is so broad.
It's so
We've got
broad. And
architects. It's very cool.
there are problem solvers. So
They're problem solvers.
listen, live, give PC, give PC. We're going to put the information in the Joseph James Morelli Foundation. I'm going to put it up on the screen again. Make sure
And
that
live PC, give PC. In
Yeah.
fact, so it's a live count. And as we've been speaking, we just went up $3,000 in donations. Thank you. That funds 2 kids.
Okay, let's do this, shall we? Amy, any parting thoughts?
Truly, let me literally just when she said that, I was about to start crying. I will never be able to express how much this foundation has helped me and so many other people and that they support. And if you have a dyslexic kid, if you know a dyslexic kid, I very doubt that they just had an easy walk. This foundation is one of the only places I know where they just take the child and just lift them up. And I mean, like, when I got my email, I was sitting at my brother's graduation watching him walk. And I just had tears running down my face when I showed it to my mom for the first time.
Oh my God.
And that's what it's all about.
You got me crying again, Amy.
You got me crying, Amy. What the heck?
Because it's not real, man.
I'm giving you guys a hug. We're bringing it in, everyone. Bring it in.
It's true. It's
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And my friends
That's why
watching.
we keep going, huh?
I was saying for everyone watching, this is raw. This is real. You know, these are real stories. And
Yeah,
just
please.
know that we're here. Yeah.
That's a great point. Please check out the website and look at some of the quotes from the kids because they really are very powerful. They're real people.
Oof. I don't want to leave. This is so nice, guys. All right,
you.
I think we're gonna end it here. But thank you both so much for coming on. And for anyone again watching, Joseph James Morelli Foundation, Live PC, Give PC. Any donation supports this amazing organization. I'm Jake Sussman, founder of Superpower Mentors. If you're interested in signing your kid up for a mentorship, please don't hesitate to reach out as well. We're all here for you, and just know you're not alone. So,
Thank you.
have a good night, everybody.